Okay, we're back here. I wanted to talk a little bit more about formulas and functions, help you understand what they are, what they're not, and how they can be used to your benefit. Just to review quickly, a formula is something that you create in order to get whatever work done you need to have done. A function is something that's built into Excel to get things done also. And formulas can have functions in them, or they don't have to, but they can. Functions can never have formulas in them, they're closed. And let's talk about a couple other things here. Before we move forward, we need to discuss something called the order of precedence, which is a mathematical rule, and it applies to Excel also. It's a math rule that states that as you move left to right across a math formula or equation, some types of math operators get done before others. The first thing that gets done is exponentiation. It gets done first, no matter where it is on a line. This is raising a number to a power like 2 to the third power right here, which is pronounced 2 to the third power, or multiplying 2 times 2 times 2, which equals 8. After exponentiation, multiplication and division get done next, no matter where it is on a line. If it's at the end of the line, either of those, it'll get done before anything else except for exponentiation. And finally, addition and subtraction will get done last on a line, on an equation, or a formula. So if you had this right here, 2 plus 9 divided by 3, the division of 9 by 3 gets done first before the addition of 2 and 9. So the answer would be 2 divided by 9, 2 plus 9 divided by 3. Well, 9 divided by 3 right here is 3, so it's 2 plus 3, that would give you 5. If you wanted to add up the 2 and the 9 together first, and then divide that by 3, you have to change the order of precedence by adding parentheses around the things you want to do first. So if you wanted to add the 2 to the 9 to be added together first, you would have to enclose them in parentheses like this: 2 plus 9 divided by 3. This would give you 11, which is 2 plus 9, divided by 3, which is, I believe, 3.66667. If you want to change the order of precedence, you override it by enclosing that part of the equation or formula in parentheses first. If you do not do this, all division or multiplication on a line will get done first. Division and multiplication have the same precedence, so whichever one appears first on a line will get done first. The same applies to addition and subtraction. They both have the same precedence, so whichever one appears first in the line will get done first. This is also the way Excel operates. Use parentheses to override the order of precedence. And now let's move back into Excel. So we have 3 columns here of identical numbers, and we want to take and find the average of these SAT scores and put it underneath the column. So we have 3 columns because we're going to do it 3 different ways. The first way is going to be using a formula that we create and involves the most work, but it will work. Let me show you. You start all formulas with an equal sign. So then we want to put in the numbers that we're adding up. So we click on the first cell, and then we type a plus sign. We click on the next cell, type a plus sign, the third cell, plus sign, fourth cell, plus sign, and the fifth cell. So now, if you look at the formula up here, we added up the 5 numbers. When you average numbers, you add up all the numbers and then you divide by the number of numbers. Well, you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need to change our formula here and divide this total by 5. So if we come up here and we put a divide sign and a 5, it should give us the average. Well, it gives us a number 3045.8, which there's no way this could be the average. And if we take a closer look at the formula, up here, we'll see what's going on. Because of the order of precedence, the division right here gets done before any of the addition. So J12, which is this cell right here, gets divided by 5, and then it gets added up to the other 4 cells. And that is not going to give you the average. The way you make this work is you come up here and you put a parentheses in front of the first cell we're adding, and over to the last cell right there, put a parentheses, and now it'll do all this adding first, and then it'll divide by 5. So if you press the enter key, now we get 755.4, which makes much more sense to be the average of these numbers here. So that is the old-fashioned hardest way to do it, by writing a formula, adding up the numbers, then dividing by the total after you put the parentheses in. Let's try another way here. We're going to show you how to write a formula, but we're going to use a function within the formula. So we are going to, instead of adding up the numbers, we're going to use something called the sum function, which is built in to Excel. It adds up numbers, and then we're going to finish the formula by dividing by 5. So you start a function and a formula the same way. You type an equal sign, and now we know that it's going to be the sum function, so we'll type the first couple letters of it, and there it is right there. You click on it. Once it becomes highlighted in blue, you can double click on it. It'll help you build the function. So we put a parentheses after the function. Now it wants you to give it the numbers that you want to add up. So you can click right in here in the first number and drag down to the last number. Okay, these are all the parameters that you're feeding to the sum function. Now, when you have a left parentheses here, you have to have a right parentheses too. These functions will put the right parentheses in. So if you press the enter key, it adds up the 5 numbers and gives you the result right here. Now we have to go back and modify our formula by putting the divide sign and the 5. We don't have to put parentheses, any other parentheses, because we're not adding up the numbers. They're already done inside the function. So if we press enter, it gives us the same thing that we get over here. It's just 2 different ways to accomplish the same thing. Here we added up all the numbers. Here we use the sum function to add up the numbers, and then we divide it by 5. And now if we come over here, we'll find an even easier way to do it, because if you come up here, you'll see that there's the average function also. So if you come back down here, we'll type an equal sign. We'll type the first couple letters of the average function. It'll show you all the functions that start with those letters. And here's the average function, the second one. So we click on it to highlight it, and then double click it. It'll help you build the function. So it wants the parameters or numbers that you're going to be averaging. So if you click in the first number, drag down to the last number, press the enter key, and there you go. Look how easy that is. Equal average times of N8 through N12, and this is a range of numbers that we showed you before. So 3 ways to do the same thing: building a formula and using the order of parentheses of precedence with the parentheses. Here's a combination of a formula which has a function in it, and then we took the sum function and divided by 5 and got the right answer. And then over here we just used the average function to get the right answer. Okay, so 3 different ways to get the same thing done, and we'll stop there and come back later.